The woman standing at my front door was wearing the wedding ring my husband had given me 22 years earlier. Not a similar one. Not one that looked like it. My ring. The thin gold band with the tiny diamond on the side. The ring I had stopped wearing 6 months earlier, after my husband left me for her. She held it between 2 fingers. Then she said, "Your husband never told me the real reason he left you. I couldn't move." For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then I asked, "Why do you have my ring?" She looked down at it. "Because he gave it to me." My stomach tightened. "Then why are you here?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Because I found out what he did. I should have closed the door. Instead, I stepped aside. Come in." I had no idea that letting my husband's new wife into my house would finally reveal the truth about the last 22 years of my marriage. My name is Laura Bennett. I'm 51 years old, and until 6 months ago, I thought I knew my husband. His name is Michael. We met when I was 28. He was funny, ambitious, a little stubborn, and completely convinced that one day he'd build a successful business. I believed him. When we got married, we didn't have much. Our first apartment had a tiny kitchen and a bedroom so small that we could barely fit the bed inside it. We ate cheap pasta. We counted every dollar. We laughed about it. Those were some of the happiest years of my life. Then Michael's business started growing. He worked longer hours. We bought our first house, then a bigger one. We had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Life wasn't perfect. But I thought it was ours. At least I thought it was. The first time I noticed something had changed, Michael came home at nearly midnight. I was sitting at the kitchen table. "Work. You could have called." He sighed. "I was busy, Laura." I looked at him. "You've been busy every night." He didn't answer. Instead, he poured himself a glass of water. I watched him. There was something different in his face. Not guilt, not exactly. "Distance?" I asked. "Is there someone else?" He looked directly at me. "No." He said it so quickly that I almost believed him. Almost. Over the next few months, colder, he stopped asking about my day, stopped sitting beside me on the couch, stopped touching me when he walked past. Our conversations became practical. "Did you pay the electricity bill? Did our son call? What's for dinner?" Nothing about us. One night I finally said, "Michael, I feel like I'm losing you." He stared at me. Then he said something I will never forget. "Maybe you already lost me." I felt like the air had disappeared from the room. What does that mean? I don't know if I love you anymore. After 22 years, that's how he said it. Like he was discussing a broken appliance. 3 weeks later, he told me he was leaving. There was another woman. Her name was Vanessa. She was younger than me. She worked in his company. And according to Michael, he had never felt this way before. I remember laughing when he said that. Not because it was funny, because sometimes your mind doesn't know what else to do. "You're leaving me for her." "Yes, after 22 years. I can't live a lie anymore." I looked at him. "A lie?" He nodded. "Our marriage hasn't been real for years." That sentence hurt more than the affair. Because suddenly, every memory became a question. Was he pretending when our children were born? Was he pretending when Mom died? Was he pretending when we bought our first house? Was he pretending when he held my hand during my father's funeral? I didn't know, and he didn't seem interested in explaining. The divorce happened quickly. Michael wanted the house. He said he had built the business. He said most of the money belonged to him. He said I could keep the smallest savings account. I was exhausted, so I agreed to things I shouldn't have. I moved into a small house across town. I packed 22 years of marriage into card boxes, photographs, Christmas decorations, old birthday cards, my children's drawings, Michael's old shirts, things I couldn't throw away, things I couldn't look at. I kept one box sealed. I didn't know why. I just couldn't open it. The first few months were brutal. People told me to be strong. They said, "You'll find someone else," or "You deserve better," or the one I hated most. Everything happens for a reason. I didn't want another man. I didn't want a lesson. I wanted my old life back. But slowly, something changed. I started sleeping better. I went back to work full time. I painted the living room. I planted flowers. I began taking walks in the evening. And for the first time in 22 years, I started making decisions without asking what Michael wanted. I thought that was the end of the story. Then Vanessa came to my door. She sat across from me in my living room. She looked exhausted. "Michael told me you were unstable." I stared at her. "What?" he said. "You were controlling." I almost smiled. He said I was controlling. Yes. He told you that? Yes. What else did he say? That you were obsessed with money? I laughed at her. Vanessa, he took the house. She looked down. I know. That caught my attention. You know. She nodded. That's why I'm here. Then she placed something on my coffee table, a folder. I looked at it. What is that? Bank records. I opened the folder. The first page was an account I had never seen before. My husband's name was on it. But underneath his name was another, my name. I stared at the page. I don't understand. Vanessa swallowed. Neither did I, she continued. Until I found the rest. There were transfers, hundreds of them. Small amounts at first. Then larger ones. Money moving from Michael's business account into a private investment account. The account had been opened 7 years earlier. I had never known about it. I looked at Vanessa. Why are you showing me this? Because I found out the account wasn't his. I stopped breathing. What? She pointed at my name. It's yours. I stared at the paper. This can't be right. It is. Why would Michael put money into an account in my name? Vanessa looked at me. Because your husband wasn't telling either of us the truth. I remembered something. 7 years earlier, Michael had asked me to sign several documents. He said they were related to taxes. I had signed them without reading every page. I trusted him. He had always handled the finances. I never thought I needed to question him. But now I understood. He hadn't been protecting me from financial details. He had been hiding them. Vanessa reached into her bag. There is more. She pulled out a second folder. Inside were emails. Moss mace between Michael and his accountant. One sentence immediately caught my attention. The account must remain under Laura's name. I read it twice, then again. Why? Vanessa shook her head. I don't know. I looked at her. You're his wife now. Her eyes filled with tears. I froze. What? He left me. When? 2 weeks ago. I stared at her. Why? He said he needed space. I almost laughed. That's what he told me. She nodded. I know. Vanessa told me what had happened. After marrying her, Michael had started doing the same things. Late nights, accurate phone calls, unexplained expenses, sudden anger. Then one evening, she found the financial records. She discovered the account. She discovered my name. And she discovered something even more disturbing. Michael had been transferring money into accounts connected to me for years, not stealing from me, protecting money for me. I couldn't understand it. Why would he do that? Vanessa looked at me. Because his business was in trouble. I felt my heart drop. How much trouble? More than he told you. She explained that years earlier, Michael's company had nearly collapsed. He had borrowed heavily. He had taken out loans. He had personally guaranteed several debts. If the business failed, our house could have been taken, our savings could have disappeared. Everything. Michael had quietly created a financial safety net in my name. But there was a condition. The money couldn't be accessed without my signature. He had been protecting me. And then he had left me anyway. I didn't know how to feel. Angry, relieved, betrayed, confused. All at once. Why didn't he tell me? Vanessa looked down. Because he said you would worry. I laughed bitterly. After 22 years, he decided lying was easier than telling me the truth. She didn't answer. Then she said, "There is one more thing." My heart sank. What? He never left you because he stopped loving you. I looked at her. What are you saying? He left because he thought you would be safer without him. I stood up. No. She nodded. His company is being investigated. I froze. What? He didn't tell me that either. Suddenly, the last 6 months looked completely different. His sudden divorce. His insistence on taking nothing that could be traced back to me. His anger, his refusal to explain. His repeated statement that I would be better off without him. I had believed he was abandoning me. But maybe he had been trying to distance me from the disaster coming toward him. That didn't excuse what he did. Nothing could. But it changed the question. It wasn't. Why did he stop loving me? It was. Why did he decide I was better off not knowing? I called Michael. He answered after the 3rd ring. Laura, Vanessa came to see me. Silence, then he whispered. She shouldn't have. Why didn't you tell me about the account? Silence again. Laura, listen to me. No. My voice shook. You listen to me. I told him I knew about the business. I knew about the investigation. I knew about the money. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he finally said, I wanted you protected. You protected me by destroying our marriage. I didn't know what else to do. You could have trusted me. I couldn't risk losing you. I closed my eyes. You already lost me. He started crying. I had never heard Michael cry, not even at his father's funeral, but I didn't comfort him, because I finally understood something. Love doesn't give someone the right to make your choices for you, even if they're trying to protect you. Months passed. The investigation continued. Michael eventually admitted what he had done. He had made terrible financial decisions. He had lied to investors. He had hidden debts. But he had also spent years making sure I wouldn't be financially destroyed if everything collapsed. The account he created in my name was legally mine. The house I had lost was eventually sold, and the money in the account became my fresh start. Vanessa and I never became friends, but we weren't enemies either. We were two women who had trusted the same man in completely different ways. And both of us had discovered that trust doesn't always break with one dramatic moment. Sometimes it breaks quietly, one secret at a time. A year after Vanessa first came to my door, I moved into a small cottage near the coast. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't impressive, but it was mine. I painted the kitchen yellow. I planted roses. I bought a second-hand dining table. And for the first time in years, I ate dinner without feeling like someone was going to tell me I was doing something wrong. One afternoon, there was a knock on the door. I opened it. It was Vanessa. She smiled. I wanted to see how you're doing. I smiled back. Better. She looked around. You seem happy. I thought about that. I am. Then she asked, do you ever regret marrying him? I looked toward the garden. No, she seemed surprised. After everything? Yes, I smiled. 22 years gave me 2 wonderful children, memories I will always keep, and a life I learned a lot from. Then I looked at her. But I don't regret leaving either. She nodded. That was the difference. I wasn't choosing between loving him and hating him anymore. I was choosing myself. Sometimes people think the opposite of heartbreak is love. It isn't. The opposite of heartbreak is healing. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without letting the memory control you. For 22 years, I thought my identity was tied to being Michael's wife. When he left, I thought he had taken my future with him, but he hadn't. He had only taken the life I thought I was supposed to keep living. And in the empty space he left behind, I finally built one that belonged to me. I still have the ring. Not because I want Michael back, and not because I miss the marriage. I keep it because it reminds me of the woman I was when I first said yes. She trusted completely. She loved completely. She gave everything she had. I don't blame her for that. But now she knows something she didn't know then. Love should never require you to disappear. And when I look back at the woman standing in my doorway that day, my husband's new wife, holding the ring I once wore, I realized she didn't come to destroy my past. She came carrying the truth I needed to finally leave it behind. Because sometimes the person who breaks your heart is also the person who accidentally gives you your life back. And sometimes the woman you thought came to replace you is the one who finally helps you see that you were never replaceable at all.